They say that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And this is so true, right? The more we're able to really remember our end result, what it is that we are working towards, what we are looking at creating, the experience we like to be having and living today, the more easily it is that we're going to know what to do and when to do it. And also, our energy is going to start shifting that that whole law of attraction and magnetizing things, it happens because we're not actually forcing anything. It's just like we're imagining it. Like one simple thing I'll give you an example of. I've got some, beautiful tulips beside me today. I love beautiful things, right? I was actually really literally thinking about the color pink because I had this dream and I saw these wonderful flowers in it that were pink, and I was like, oh, I was just like enjoying the thought of that dream for a few days. And then suddenly a friend of mine gifted me a vase full of tulips. And it's one of those things. It's not I was trying. I could have gone to the store and bought some, but I was just reveling in that state, right? I wasn't needing it to come into fruition in the moment, and then I was gifted this, right? So this may seem like little bit of an example, but the truth is it actually works the same for some of the most biggest things. If you watch like Abraham Hicks, for example, they say it's as easy to manifest a button as it is to manifest a castle, right? Or I guess it would be the other way around, as easy to manifest a castle as it would be a button, right? Like it sounds so like out there, so crazy. How could that be? But it's operating on similar principles. And when we are actually tuned in, like for me, the idea of pink flowers, I was really tuned in. It was easy for me to do. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to bring my attention to it. I didn't have to force anything, right? It was very natural. And for me, that also goes for like some really big visions that I've had in my life where I just like enjoyed and reveled in them, and not even with the idea, oh, I have to achieve that, I have to start taking actions, I better start doing, because all of that is really a forcing energy, right? And what my channel is about is how to really be in more of your natural state, to be your true self, where that bigger vision already exists. And then you're taking action with that instead of moving into states that cause a lot of anxiety and mental stress and have somebody worrying about, what they're thinking every second, right? Or whether they've taken enough actions, or constantly placing their attention and energy on what they think they're doing wrong. But when we just let that go, and it's easier to let go when we're actually in the space of, oh yeah, so that experience that I want to have, like that right now seems quite out of reach for me. Like, let me just enjoy it. Let me just have it now, right? In my imagination. That I'm imagining it, I'm thinking about it. I my like that kind of daydream may actually kind of circle around different elements about it, so that it's what our brain naturally does. Again, we're not forcing it, we're doing it in a fun way, in an easy way, in the way we naturally think. Because I know whenever I try to kind of use some, like for example affirmations, and I try to use the words that somebody said, and even if I tried to make them my own, again, it was so much effort. And so I found myself quickly letting go, right? If I use those today, it's very like those quick and easy ones that come to me naturally, that come from me, instead of, what I might be hearing on the outside or in my when my brain gets involved. My mind is going faster than my ability to speak. So when my brain is going really fast and I'm here like going, wait a second, like I can't even catch up, that's an example of, okay, pause. So I caught myself, right? Just pause, get back into the present moment. And what is it that I want to speak to you? What is it that you're moving towards? Because our presence actually shifts our energy, right? So the way I'm speaking now is quite different than just a few seconds ago. And I'm giving an example here through a funny moment of how swift it can be to begin to take back control and step back into our true power, where we can then direct our attention to what it is that we actually intend. And by doing this a few minutes throughout the day. It can be like, 30 seconds every couple of hours, right? Just like bringing something to mind. As I said, like I was enjoying the idea of the flowers I had, and had in the day, in the dream, and then ended up getting physically. Like, it's that kind of naturalness. And when we are natural, you see what happens. We're not like putting up any barriers between us and something, right? When we're pushing and forcing, it's like it creates a repelling experience, actually. And that's why sometimes things can totally elude us, right? I've had instances, for example, where, say, I knew some money was going to come in, but for whatever reason, I was in a stressed state, and I kept checking, and then I would find like that money. Sometimes something weird would happen, and it would take an extra few days, and there was like no practical reason that should have happened. It literally felt like I ended up repelling it because I was not in a grounded, clear state. I mean, it was coming. I knew it. So it's most likely other distractions that I was getting caught up in that then shifted my energy, where I allowed it to shift, right? And today we have so many ways to be distracted. There's technology, like everything requires technology, which means we then go on our phone or go on the computer or whatever, your iPad. We go on things, and then we get distracted because there's so many other access points to other places that we can travel, which are then, guess what, taking us away from whatever task it is actually we intend to do, or being in this space where we're more spontaneous and then have some kind of natural coincidence or synchronicity that seems to happen and come our way because we actually got out of the way. So this is just a short video today, but just that reminder of where you're placing your attention, your energy will begin to flow there. And it will it's almost like things will get magnetized because that's the energy that you're spending most of your time in. And you will begin seeing kind of things shift around to match it. Of course, it goes both ways, right? That's why I gave that example of the money, for example. So when we get too stressed, I have to have this, it has to come now, we are doing the opposite of what we actually desire. And so sometimes in those experiences, in those moments, it's best to kind of forget about it and actually like go do things that where we can be back into our natural state. We can bring that energy back in. And sometimes that energy can be easily brought in by what I said is just using our imagination, right? Okay, like if I were right now, knowing that I had that, what would I be doing? What would I be preparing? What would I be creating? What would I be enjoying? And then we start entering that. So anytime you find yourself like other things have gotten your attention, you've moved into distraction, the best thing really to do is pause and relax, and first just like kind of calm down and slow down, and then shift it gently. When you are at a more neutral place, shift it to something good. It can be the end result that you're looking at, the big vision you have, and it can be something simple as I want to just enjoy the flowers right now and return to more my healthy, natural, joyful state where, then my mind may just start daydreaming because I'm already looking at something that's beautiful, right? So I hope you've enjoyed this short piece of guidance. What I'd love to hear from you in the comments is where do you find that your energy goes, and what are some ways that you are able to draw it back to you and then use it and harness it and then use it in the manner that you actually intend to, and so that you're giving energy to what you would actually like instead of what you don't want. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.